maybe 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 talk a little bit about what you saw this week on like from GameStop to all these the Democrats and so on. Maybe we can go to Gary and the rest of the team, and we want to engage the community in like a coffee shop now that all the coffee shops are closed and they're opening soon. I think we can do this over Zoom now, and maybe later we'll continue one day that allows us to do it. But Stephen, you want to go from here?
Absolutely. And so Bobby, thank you. You know, Bobby is my campaign manager and also the MC apparently. So excellent. I'm really glad to be able to work with Bobby and Steve and Tyrone, Anna. Pat is now, you know, he's jumping on the team. We're just really, like Bobby said, we're really organized and things are going very, very well. So, I really want to just thank Gary. I want to thank you for, you know, responding and also, you know, organizing a little bit. Michelle, I also want to thank you for, you know, talking to Gary. So, I mean, it's all about like a grassroots, word of mouth, campaign / you know, movement is what it really needs to be. And so, and I think that's really what you likely with the Indivisible group, you want more, you want a movement, you want things happening. And so that's where I'm coming from. Absolutely. So we were talking about coronavirus. You were talking about vaccines. So I had my second vaccine a week ago Friday, and it's no joke. It will, the second injection will likely make you feel a little under the weather. So really important that it still happen, that you get that vaccine. It's absolutely imperative. I received the vaccine because I'm a registered nurse. And so I work for Sharp, and we vaccinated well over 15,000 people already. We've vaccinated every single front line nurse and physician. We bought and invested in all the cold storage refrigerators, and we were ready for this. And we've also we bought a factory and built for N95 masks. So really about safety, really about science. And that's really what almost our movement needs to be, a science-based movement, because I feel like people are following some sort of like cult-like belief system, whether it be against COVID or, you know, politics, whatever it happens to be lately, whatever the flavor is, it doesn't seem to be science-based. And so for me, this response to coronavirus, I've been following what's going on Capitol Hill. The supply line is absolutely broken. The supply line being, it starts in DC and it gets to my arm. And somehow it's not happening. And so instead of putting blame, we need to get people, we need to get scientists up there, nurses, doctors, people that know how to get things done. That's what we really need on Capitol Hill right now. And as a registered nurse, that's me. And so I also have an MBA. I work for Sharp's administration. I have a master's in healthcare systems administration. So I went to school for this sort of thing. But of course, politics, unfortunately, isn't like a job interview, because when I hire nurses to work for me and with, you know, my director and I, we actually interview people and take them for what it's worth. We don't look at these crazy aspects of, you know, allegiance to a various politician or whatnot. It's about who's the best for the job. And in the 50th, that's me. I'm a registered nurse. I grew up here. I know all about the 50th. I know all about Julian. I love Julian. I don't only go to Julian when it snows or the worst possible time to ruin your time in Julian. I'm a big time mountain bike and hiking, rock climbing guy. That I go up to Rancho Cuyamaca State Park all the time. I go up to Descanso and I go up to Julian. And so I love the place. I love your community. I love Santee. I love my community. I'm all about this area. And so I'm, you know, very interested in representing us. I believe that there are a number of common threads for all of us in the 50th. One of them is relief from this terrible economic crisis that we're in. People may not be figuring this out yet, but when you look at the statistics, the job losses and the economic impact on our economy from this COVID recession that has yet to be labeled appropriately is 5 times worse than what happened in 2008 when we had the real estate bubble. So our economic peril is 5 times worse. People haven't registered this yet. And all these individuals that are just on the brink of being evicted, if a moratorium wasn't upheld, they will become a whole generation of homeless people. We can't allow this. And so we have to force through economic recovery, and it has to happen at Capitol Hill. Now, right now, $1.9 trillion, it needs to go through. Absolutely. And the Democrats have the opportunity yet again to do this, and they must. And if it takes reconciliation, they must push it through, because we can't have a whole generation of people going homeless. And also just a lot of people are going paycheck to paycheck right now. So that's our first common thread. The second is coronavirus itself. It is a killer, indiscriminate, cold-blooded killer. And so it's about science, it's about your comorbid conditions and your likelihood of survival based on scientific study. Now, we need to get those vaccines out, and we need to get it done fast. And that's what we're doing. And that's what I'm actually working on. That's what I'm actually doing day in and day out. Now, there's others that may go tour facilities and begin to be novices and try to learn about this sort of thing. And maybe that's, unfortunately, due to politics, we might choose to put a novice into the situation for some weird reason, where we should be choosing the expert in the field. The third common thread for even people that they're okay financially and they've already got their vaccine and they really don't care about anybody else. Unfortunately, there are people like that, but we all do care about our environment. So even, it doesn't matter which party you're on at this point, people are starting to figure it out. Wildfires are real. The drought that not happening today, right? We're going to get all of our rain for the year like today, and then maybe next week, but then we're going to go a long period of time without water. And so global warming is real. The climate crisis is absolutely real. We can create a green economy, and we can start solving our problems. Stop subsidizing fossil fuels and start subsidizing battery backup for our grid. And also we need to improve our grid. We should have a microgrid. So, but those are the 3 big issues for the East County. Now, of course, Bobby had brought up what's going on Wall Street. Very interesting. This concept of selling short and being able to be making lots of money as a hedge fund operator for many, many years. Well, what's happened is the populace has gotten wind of how you could do the same thing. And they're trying to short sell, and they're trying to do the same thing that hedge fund managers have been doing for years to keep themselves very wealthy. And so what it's done is it's caused all this stuff to go on GameStop, AMC, was it Tootsie Roll was the recent one? So all of these stocks that are going, that aren't doing well. AMC obviously wouldn't be doing too well because no one's going there. We're not going to movie theaters very often right now. And so all of a sudden their stock goes up to $300, $400, but that's because they're dumping their money in it. And so they're playing a game with Wall Street. Well, unfortunately, a lot of us might have 401ks and such like that. They're playing a game with our future as well. And so again, we got to look at what's going on in Wall Street, and is Wall Street playing a big game against us here in Main Street? When the first coronavirus relief bills came through, it all went to Wall Street and to people who probably were pretty set, and none of it really made it to us. I never got my corona relief. I didn't get anything. So unfortunately, now I fought for all that, the coronavirus relief as a city councilman here in Santee. Unfortunately, it was a tough fight. Very little of the money went to rent relief for the people of Santee. Most of it was funneled to businesses, which was fine. I mean, we want to have businesses, but what happened was the businesses opened and closed a number of times. So all that money was lost to them as well. So the first corona relief bills they didn't do any of the intended effect. So again, I don't want to take up the whole time. I just want to throw out, 4 big issues. And then I want to open it up to you, because I want to really hear what's important to you. And then as your congressman, I want to represent you. So
And I like to say a few words, Stephen, that so that everybody knows on the call who we are. It's we have great people on the team right now, and a lot of them are skillful people with student background, with political background, political science, and business people like myself. And of course, residents in the 50th district, which I don't live in the 50th district. However, all these issues are mattering to me. I mean, it's national issues that we're discussing. And I like to hear from you, Gary, and the rest of you how and what we should do in terms of uniting, because I've been hearing and talking to different Democratic Party members. There are few different Democratic parties that don't talk to each other. And the goal is how can we unite them and stop making it political, but let's make it for the people. We all pay the taxes, we all vote equally. It's no matter the color or so. When I go to the grocery and I buy the grocery, I pay the same taxes like anybody else. It's no difference. When I go to vote for president or Congress people, it's the same vote counts for billionaire or homeless. So how can we unite people? What can we do better? Because I think we forgot what our values are and what we really, I mean, we forgot that we have to sleep and eat, put it that way. And just we gone too far.
Yeah, here up in Julian, we're no different than a lot of others. The obviously the environment can be a big deal because it can burn, and we've had several big fires up here since I've been up here. But education, I think, I mean, all the stuff, COVID, climate change, those things are on the top of my, climate change is like on the top for me, because it impacts so much else. But COVID obviously is right now. It does impact our economy. It impacts our personal lives. My mother has Lewy bodies, dementia, and she was put into a facility in first part of July of this last year. And no one in our family has been actually been able to physically hug her or see her. And so it's having a big impact on personal lives, family issues. Being able to just get together with grandma who's healthy is tough. So the COVID is a big deal. Michelle and I and Robin, we all teach. And I think what we can say too is, and I'll probably all agree with, is K through 12 needs to be addressed. A lot of the students I see in community college, I would sometimes wonder what they did through K through 12. Their math skills are horrible. Their ability to read and write in English is horrible. Their understanding of science is horrible. Their understanding of history is horrible. And I think that we've lost our way as far as education is concerned. And without an education, Q can take hold of your head and drive a lot of things bad. So education, obviously the Wall Street thing is big. And part of that is wealth inequity that we all feel. And to me, it's not so much capitalism per se that I'm totally against, which I'm not. We need to have a society where people can make money and make money for what they're actually doing. But what we see right now is people in essential positions are usually minimum wage people working in the restaurants. Well, they're not even working, but people in stores, those kind of things, they're essential. We call them essential, And yet people in Wall Street are going back and forth on trading stock and making lots more money in a day than people make working at Albertsons in a year. And what are they doing for it? They're almost doing nothing but knowing how to play a system. And the thing about capitalism and the stock market, my limited understanding is a company needs money to expand or to improve. They offer shares to be purchased. Investors say, you know what, I like their idea, I'm going to invest in their company. Once the company has that money, they do the work with that money that they said they were going to do. The stock is out there, and now people are playing with the stock. They're not investing in the company. The money already got to the company. They're just going back and forth. And in this trading of expectations, personally, I think a transaction tax fee should be gone, and maybe slow things down a little bit that way. So we're not just trading between shares that are already on the market from one person to another person's back and forth, because they're not really helping the company that originally bought it. So those are some ways I think about addressing those.
I mean, it's like there is no anymore connection between Main Street and Wall Street. And Wall Street was founded based on Main Street because you have people like myself working hard, and I can say that I'm a smart individual, but I cannot compete with the big corporations. And it's almost like it's like a communist economy. I mean, you have to do something behind it. You have to build connections in order to make business and to make money. And we see it very clearly, like Wall Street is doing excellent while the whole economy was closed, and everybody is losing job, and people on furlough, and the stocks are doing great. So it's like Las Vegas. Wall Street is like Las Vegas. It's all about only the house wins. It's you go there, you play, you leave your money, and you walk away. I mean, all these plans that we have. I mean, there was this professor from New Jersey. He won the Nobel Prize about 3 years ago. Because he came up with a study over the years that people that went with a master's degree that had a solid job for the whole life, like a long-term job, 20, 30 years, something that matters, and smart people, and they plan their retirement well and very calculated, and they made a lot of money. None of them had the right plans. After they retired, they all end up without that plan. So what is that telling? It's like we're living in a chaotic world, and things are not happening as we want. And even you work hard and smart, it goes nowhere. And this country is founded on small businesses, and people are running for a better life from a better, worse countries. And I'm one of them. And what is it happening here? It's like, I feel like if I go to Russia or China, I may do even more better business, because what is happening here, it's not okay. And education is huge, but see, education, I think it has a lot to do with Silicon Valley, all this Google and all these tech companies, the way they sell to kids now, all the starting with games and going to social media and all that stuff. It's disturbed. And then you have you have Wall Street pumps a lot of money into those companies so they can sell more stuff. And it's like the propaganda, but an economical propaganda where companies can sell more stuff we don't need. So yeah.
Yeah, Bobby's right. There's a disconnect, and that's a really important concept. When you look at the stock market, and when the former administration took over, everything was going well, and then the stock market went off a cliff, and then the stock market recovered. But the rest of us, we were all off that cliff. And so there's a disconnect there. And really the disconnect is it comes down to economics, and just like you said, Gary, people understand a lot because they weren't taught properly in their elementary school, grammar school environment. And so the gross domestic product has nothing to do with the stock market. The gross domestic product is the summation of everything, and that should go up. And then that means there's enough for all. And so capitalism is always fueled by a certain amount of scarcity, but not such amount of scarcity that people aren't allowed to participate in our system. There's always been at least enough for everybody. We enacted law in Santee. We enacted Measure N, a general plan protection initiative, and took away the corrupt power of the council. And so I basically sacrificed my council seat, ran for mayor, but to run on this general plan protection initiative for Santee, which basically neutralized the council. So we took away their ability to be corrupt. We hurt them. We delivered a mortal wound to a corrupt body. And so what'll happen over time is the developers, they're just gonna disengage from these politicians because they're not really friends. And again, that's how politics really is. And so the developers were funding their campaigns because they wanted to rezone land in order to maximize profits. It's a simple game. And so now that they can't do that, they will actually have to go before the people in a vote. That's called democracy. The people did not want these things done. They did not want these upzones. They didn't want the change. The general plan for Santee is a solid general plan. And so we stopped them from doing it. We also brought forth term limits. Now we brought forth a more tight term limit initiative of 3 terms, 3 4-year terms, no matter who you were. They brought through a confusing term limits, and everyone voted for both, but their people voted against ours and voted for theirs. So the mayor got an extra 8 years. So, it wasn't 100% win, but we limited 12 years for a council. The mayor gets an additional 2 terms, which seemed like non-term limits, but it'll cause them to fight each other because they'll want to be the mayor. Just like that's what got me in the first place as a councilman. So we look for opportunity, and then we have to strike. Now is that time again, because the Republican Party will be split. And so likely we'll have a situation where the incumbent will run against the former incumbent, which will break them. And then we need to come in united, and that way we get through. And that's what's going to happen. Now, as far as corruption, the corruption it's all about money and influence. Why would they spend so much money on these campaigns? A councilman in Santee, I got paid next to nothing. I got paid, I don't know if it was $20,000 a year, but they'll spend $1 million to get me out. It's not about the money. It's about the power. It's about what you can do. And that's the same thing with Congress. So my plan in Congress is to go in and make the change. It's to push through the coronavirus relief, no matter what, even if it costs me in 2 years. I don't care, because I want to do the right thing. Congressmen should be like soldiers. We shouldn't be in there forever. We should go in there, and sometimes soldiers are going to die in the battle. And so sometimes your political choices may hurt you now, but they might be the right thing to do in the future. Case in point, in 2008, Obama had won the presidency. He also had control of the Senate and had control of the Congress. And the one thing that made it through was the Affordable Care Act. Now, 2 years later, many of those congressmen were voted out of office for having done that. But it was a strong stand. And it's the one law that was passed during the Obama era that stands, because everything else was done by decree, by executive order. And then everything was undone within a day. And then guess what happened when Biden got in? He undid everything of his predecessor. So Congress needs to actually pass laws so that we don't have a tyrant or whatever changing everything. So when you go through Congress, when you create law, it can't be undone by the executive branch. That's what needs to happen now. And the Congress it shouldn't just be Republicans all on one side and Democrats on one side. It's the United States that needs this relief bill. I've heard arguments saying that, well, the money might not go to the right people. Well, we know that the first relief bill, the money absolutely didn't go to the right people. And the ones that are arguing now that they don't want to pass it because it might go to the wrong people were the ones that facilitated the first coronavirus relief going to the wrong people. And who are these wrong people? Us. All we would do is we would spend the money, which would create economy. So there are no wrong people to give the money to. So like your comments about Andrew Yang just saying give everyone $1,000, it would make the economy go. So because people like myself, I'll just spend it because I'm not going to hoard that money. So absolutely.
And I think the lawsuit also that is financed by those developers, and it's filed by the Republican Party against Stephen based on a city issue. They make it personal. I think that shows us that Stephen is the right person because they're afraid of Stephen. They want to attack him personally. So with a subliminal message, they are saying Stephen is the guy that we're afraid of because they're not attacking other people on such a known issue. It's like a stupid issue. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But they are showing already, hey, San Diego Republican Party is afraid of Stephen. So we gotta take him down. Yeah, but what they're doing is they're putting more gasoline in the fire.
Absolutely. And going back to like what Janet was saying, I wasn't just fighting against, the little machine in Santee. I was fighting the full might of the Republican Party. They used everything against me and we still almost beat them. And that was just without having a huge organization. That was just grassroots. We almost took them out. Just, me and Steve Stellman and Janet and Michelle, we just stood up strong against them and almost got them. And they unleashed the full might, mailers every day, great sums of money, completely slandered me, got their whole racist white supremacists after me, threatening me, calling me on the phone, texting me that they're going to kick my ass. You got to be kidding me. It's not going to work, guys. They're not going to take me out. I'm going 100%. They fired me up. They're suing me personally. They're trying to destroy me personally. It's not going to happen. I'm on my GoFundMe. We're up to like $4,500. That's just my friends chipping in $20 each, saying, "Oh yeah, we believe in you, Steve. We believe in you." And so we already have a movement. It's happening, and so we're going to continue. It's no different now than my last election. We narrowly lost. It was very, very close. Mm-hmm. Haley, go ahead.
Hi, yeah. Kind of had a question for you. But I was just thinking, I think a big issue is that there are a lot of citizens who don't necessarily see the corruption and who still like blindly follow these politicians. So, or like they don't see the issue with the social problems or racism in the community, or they may be a part of the issue. So my question would be, how do you get people who don't necessarily see these things as issues to see like the issue? Like, how do you get those people, those voters, to recognize?
I agree. Well, in Santee, I mentioned earlier about there was a man that wore a KKK hood to Vons. There was a man and a woman who wore these N95 masks that put Nazi swastikas on the front. And I was all over that. And I was denouncing it from the city council. I was denouncing it on every form of social media I could, while the city council, our own city council was saying, "Oh, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but it's time to grow up. This is the way it is." Hell no, it isn't. Hell no, it isn't. And so all of anybody I know who claims Republican, they don't claim racism, being racist. And so right there, that's a wedge that I will drive and drive and drive. Are you really a racist, or do you just believe in fiscal conservatism? Are you a part of this cult of personality for an individual, or do you believe in the ideology of the Republican Party? And does that ideology go back to Lincoln and Reagan? Are those your fundamental founders of your party? If it's Lincoln, Lincoln was probably the greatest president. He was he died for what he believed in. He was Republican. Reagan, some people love him, some people hate him, but are those the foundational individuals? We know in the Democrat Party right now, obviously Biden's the driver's seat. So that's, but there's there's Biden, Obama, Clinton. There's kind of like, it's kind of going, and it's a little more consistent. There's some sort of consistency to their ideas versus in the Republican idea, they're fractured. Are they the party of Reagan or are they the party of Trump? Because you can't make those the same. If Reagan was the president today, he would be a moderate Democrat. I mean, because his ideas were, now they've gone so far that now it's become radicalized. So again, I'll call him out on it. Are you, I'm an anti-racist. I'm not just against racism. I'm anti-racism. That's a very important thing. That means that I'm not just going to turn my blind eye when they're trying to, if they were going to hang someone. That means I'm going down with them. That means I'm going down with them. That means if they're going to go after somebody else, I'm going to die with them, because it's not okay. We have to stand by our brothers and sisters regardless of their race. It's not okay. And then as far as fiscal conservatism, I believe in fiscal conservatism. I believe you shouldn't spend beyond what you have. But when you are in a fiscal crisis, this is a time when you just make money. This is the time when the Fed just opens up the doors and you put money out there to everybody. And so this isn't the time to clamp down on these things. When we talk about taxation, really it'd be a tough time. And if you look at what Biden's doing right now, it's kind of a tough time just to increase taxes, because things are falling apart. So what you do is you don't want to put the brakes on the economy when it's already gone off a cliff. Now, there will be a time for a tax increase, absolutely. And there needs to be some increased parity, absolutely. I agree 100%. We need to look at those hard decisions. Can we fund the things we want? We want to have awesome ambulances. We want to have awesome fire departments. We want to have public safety. But can we afford it indefinitely? Probably not. But of course, there'll be those that'll just keep, beating that drum. Oh, Houlahan's anti-cop now. He's against the police. He wants to disband the police. No, I don't. Just because I believe Black Lives Matters, it's an absolute, doesn't mean that I'm against the police. But I'm against any police that are white supremacists that are trying to kill one of our citizens, especially if he's Black. And why is it happening every day? And that's why they served me with a slap suit. And I wish I could have done more. We came really close. But again, I'm not independently wealthy either. I'm a registered nurse working during the time of Corona. What's more important? Unfortunately, my political career was really important to me. What's more important was all those human beings were dying. And so, decisions had to be made. And so, a little extra push might have made a bigger difference. Hindsight is really important, to learn. But I considered that I had, beyond my wildest dreams, didn't think we would have turned out as close. When I decided to run for mayor, it was just because I knew I wasn't making a change on the council, because it was always a 4-1 vote. And so I said, you know what? They're going to try to hunt me down and get me. So what I'm going to do is take it to the next level. And they're doing it again, and I'm going to take it to the next level again. And so absolutely. And I appreciate your comments. We're not going to cozy up to white supremacists and try to win them over. No, we're not. We're going to cast a light on them. We're going to show how bad they are, so that they won't even want to be with each other, because it's a sickening way. It's like a cancer. Yeah. They don't even like each other. Sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And our campaign is more about endorsements, yes, but we don't want to be so politically correct. It's about the people. We want to talk to the people and to the masses. So that's what we are about. How we can.
Yeah, and there's nothing in Steve's platform that would disagree with the state, county, or club platforms. And that's why I just encourage you just to join the meeting. I don't know what the dues are, $30 or whatever, and just become a member, and just zoom in on every meeting. And they always have a segment where candidates get to give their piece. So it's a great forum.
Absolutely. We will, for sure.
Yeah, thank you for that, Pat. Absolutely, I'm all about it. I want to go to every forum, and I'm going to say the same thing I said to you today. It's the same thing I said when I was on the council for 4 years. It's the same thing I said for 6 years in activist. So I evolved as a person, but I feel like a lot of what we've talked about, these are clear choices. These are clear positions. Awesome. All right. Well, there we go. We're at an hour 45. I want to thank you guys all for being here. I want to thank Steve Stellman. I want to thank Bobby. I want to thank Gali. You know, I want to thank Tyrone, you guys. I want to welcome Haley. I want to thank Anna from my team. You guys are all awesome. And you guys are, again, they're all doing this as volunteers. So, you know, we're all volunteers, and that's how we're going to make the change.
And Ryan is also on our team. He is with, what did you study, Ryan? Yes.
Okay. Hey, nice to meet you, Ryan. I wasn't sure. I didn't meet you before. Welcome, Ryan.
Nice to meet you. Sorry, I joined a little bit late. I actually study mechanical engineering, but I have a minor in political science.
Well, you're welcome to our team also, Ryan. So sorry I missed you, bud. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's it. And we'll do this again next. We're going to do it every Saturday. I'm available.